Hello everybody.
Next up we play host to Leeds United. Kick-off on Sunday is a mind-bogglingly early 1:30pm. I mean, one has barely donned one's nightgown at that time of the day. Coverage is on Sky apparently. Who knew they were on there that early? Inkertstone and Grays are the location of this week's Engineering Works lottery, so check before you leave and all that. So Leeds then. Their struggles have been marked by the fact that they're currently on their fourth manager of the season. Messrs Marsh, Skubala and Garcia have all come and gone, with Sam Allardyce coming in on 3rd of May, with the instruction that he had 25 days to keep them in the top flight. Allardyce, whose fondness of pound note is somewhat legendary in the game, is said to be on a significant 7-figure bonus should he keep them up. And at the time of the signing, there was the amusing potential for Leeds to lose all their matches under Allardyce's stewardship, but still stay up, leaving Leeds effectively paying out millions for, well, nothing. Subsequent results have put that amusing potential scenario to bed. However, it's no secret of how high an esteem Allardyce is held by Allardyce. His early press conferences were characterised by his self-comparisons with the likes of Guardiola, Klopp and Arteta, with the rotund one proclaiming himself to be better than all three. He then went on to place himself above the law of the land, bemoaning the fact that the court system didn't cut short a case purely to allow perennial Allardyce sidekick Sammy, friend of Clive Thomas Lee, off jury duty to join him at Leeds. I'll say this for Allardyce, he's certainly as arrogant as Klopp. In the league, they're currently the wrong side of the dotted line with 31 points from the 36 played, with a home match to come against Spurs next weekend. They're tussling with Forest, who are 3 points ahead with a 6-goal better goal difference, and Everton, who are 1 point clear and 1 goal better off. Forest are at home to the Arsenal Bottlers this weekend and away at Palace next, whilst Everton are away at Wolves and at home to Bournemouth. During the last knockings of the Marsh tenor at helm, Daisy tells me that they signed 3 permanent players and 1 on loan. First cab off the rank was defender Maximilian Wöber. The central defender arrived from fizzy drink Salzburg for a reported £11 million, having started his career in Austria in Vienna with Rapid. Spells with Ajax and briefly Sevilla ensued before the player returned to his native Austria with Salzburg. He's been capped 14 times by the Austrian national side. Attacking options were augmented by the arrival of Frenchman Jorginho Rutter. Rutter came through the youth set-up at Rennes, but it was across the border in Germany where the bulk of his senior football has taken place, where he notched 11 in 57 league appearances for Hoffenheim. That doesn't seem a great return to me, but it was enough to persuade Leeds to shell out £36 million for the player, who's yet to open his account in the league since his arrival. The 21-year-old has been capped at age levels up to and including under-21 level, but has yet to trouble the French milliners at senior level. The third arrival was a defender in the former Portuguese under-21 international Diogo Monteiro. At 19, he's clearly been signed on the basis of future potential and is yet to turn out for the first 11 since his arrival for a £1 million fee from Swiss club Servette. Their loan signing exploited Marsh's American connections as they brought in American midfielder Weston McKennie from Juventus. He spent his entire senior career in Europe, leaving the FC Dallas youth system for Schalke. For the last 3 years, he's been at Juventus, initially arriving from Gelsenkirchen on loan in 2020. He holds the record for the fastest hat-trick for the US national side, netting 3 in a CONCACAF Nations League match in 13 minutes against Cuba. Talking of Dallas, Stewart of that name is one of their players who will miss this one through injury. The list includes Sinistera, Adams and Cooper. Firpo will also miss out through suspension, having finally got his second yellow card of the game against Newcastle the other week, 15 offences after receiving his first. OK, enough of them, and let's move on, shall we, to the wild and wacky world of association football. And since my mini rant the other week over the length of time the Independent Disciplinary Commission seems to be taking to deal with cases, they seem to have extracted the proverbial collective digit whence it was hidden, and started to do something. Firstly, they finally remembered that they'd charged Ivan Toney with all those betting charges. An 8-month ban was the result, effectively a 6-month ban with no time off for the closed season. Then there was the travesty of Klopp's latest brush with the law. Let's have a look at what happened here, shall we? Firstly, he receives quite correct yellow card for getting in the face of the fourth official. Then he says that Ref Tierney said something during the process that was out of order, and that Tierney has an agenda against Liverpool. The former accusation turned out to be a lie, whilst the latter turned out to be a joke, as Tierney went on to hand Liverpool the points once more. So, given that there was a £30,000 fine and one of those oh-so-effective warnings as to his future conduct on Klopp's record, what do you think the punishment for this offence was? 6-figure fine? Couple of months ban? No, not at all. One match and £75,000. Oh, okay, and another match suspended. And presumably another one of those oh-so-effective warnings as to his future conduct. Oh, that's not all, though. When asked about the fine, Klopp suggested that he wanted to know what the money would be spent on before he'd pay it over to the FA. An interesting approach you might want to consider with your next speeding fine. You may think that the Independent Disciplinary Commission is comprised of a bunch of spineless lickspittles and that Klopp is an arrogant git. And you'd be right in both cases. Let's move on to us, shall we? Excellent stuff, gentlemen. It's got me retrieving my passports from their places of hiding and dusting off my Bradshaw's International Guide. Do they still do those Pullman coaches on the Orient Express? I've got to sort out some transfer to what we must now call Czechia. The performance the other night was as measured as the promised onslaught from the home side failed to materialise, well, on the pitch at least. There were, of course, a couple of hairy moments. It wouldn't have been West Ham otherwise. Aguerd's somewhat risky challenge and Kerr's attempted own goal leaped to mind. But we had equally clear chances of our own. Fornell's splendid effort was the icing on the cake for a night that will live long in the memory. Now, you'll have read many column inches on the incidents post-match, so I won't add too many to them. It's safe to say that one feels a little bit sorry for Alkmaar, the club, who clearly feel totally let down by that section of support. However, Mr. Moyes was right. It'll be a crying shame if those events are allowed to overshadow what really was one of the greatest nights in the club's history. And so the logistical trials begin. Our ticket office, which, if we're being polite, has something of a checkered history in dealing with larger events, now has to take a back seat in the progress, with everything being handled by UEFA, bar the prioritisation process. Good luck with it all, I say. Getting back to the Leeds match, on the selection front, Scamacca apart, Mr. Moyes has a full deck with which to play. Now, I know he made, 9 changes against Brentford last week, but I would hope he'd resist the temptation to field too much of a weakened side. Apart from that, there's the small matter of the relegation scrap to consider. On one hand, it could be argued we need to put out a strong side to ensure fairness in the whole process. However, there should also be a baser desire to all this. I'd just like to send Leeds down, for all the crimes against football committed by that club and by their current manager. I think that whilst the odd pair of legs might get a rest, it'll be a fairly strong 11 that takes to the pitch amid what is likely to be a bit of a carnival atmosphere, buoyed by the twin boosts of the Thursday night exploits and the fact that it's the last home game of the season. And that should inspire what the science boffins always refer to as a positive feedback loop. For that reason, I'll be placing the £2.50 that I was going to chip in to help Klopp pay his fine on a home win. Please, Mr. Winston, make it 3-1 to us. Enjoy the game.
James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you irons.